Today we are going to begin Chapter 3 in our Big Ideas textbook. The unit is on algebraic expressions and properties. The 4 lessons in Chapter 3 will address an introduction to algebra, writing expressions, the commutative and associative properties of addition and multiplication, and then the last lesson will be on the distributive property. Okay, before we begin Chapter 3, let's start with just a brief review of order of operations, because on the problems that we're doing in this unit, you will need to be able to apply order of operations. So let's take a look at our numeric expression here. 4 squared divided by 2 plus 3 parentheses 9 minus 5. Order of operations, or PEMDAS, states that the first thing we need to do is the parentheses. So, if I do 9 minus 5, I'm going to have 4. Notice that the rest of the expression is written out along with the 4. Okay, the next step is exponents. So 4 squared, or 4 to the second power, means 4 times 4, which is 16. Okay, the third part of the problem then is multiply and divide. Now, one trick you need to remember here is that we are going to multiply and divide in order from left to right. Multiplication and division are both on the same level, or we do them at the same time. They're just the reverse of each other. So, we're going to start at the left and start with 16 divided by 2, which is 8. And then 3 times 4 is 12. Finally, the last thing we need to do is either add or subtract, and we only have an addition problem here, so 8 plus 12 is 20. Okay, please pick out 3 of these 6 problems to work out on your own, and please keep in mind if you get a decimal or a fraction, then you have made a mistake. All of these answers will be whole numbers. Once you've gotten your answers, please compare them with a partner. Okay, now we're going to begin today's purpose for lesson 3.1, and it is going to be to identify the parts of an algebraic expression and solve it when you know the value of the variable, so that you can apply this skill to real-world situations. Okay, an algebraic expression is simply a math number sentence that also includes variables. We're going to talk more about variables in just a moment. But the parts of an algebraic expression are also referred to as terms. So if we look here on this page, I have 5p plus 4. Right here is where I'm looking. 5p plus 4. Okay, the first part of this expression that we're going to talk about is the variable. Variables are letters that are substituted into a numeric expression when we don't know what the number is that we need to substitute in there. So 5p means we're going to multiply 5 times a number, but we don't know what that number is, so that's why p is there for the variable. Okay, the next part of the expression we're going to talk about is the 5. The numerical factor of a term that contains a variable is a coefficient. To put this more simply, it means any number that is in front of the variable. It's right beside it, right in front of it. That is the coefficient. Coefficients and variables are always multiplied together. The last part of our number sentence is the constant. Now, the constant is any number that is either getting added or subtracted in a number sentence. Okay, so here's another example, 3x plus 7. We have 3 parts to our number sentence here, the coefficient, variable, and constant. Remember that the variable is, any letter that stands for a numerical value. The coefficient is if there is a number right in front of the variable to multiply by. And the constant is the number getting added or subtracted. Okay, so the variable can be any letter of the alphabet. It doesn't matter what letter is chosen. I would recommend, though, that when you're writing your number sentences, please do not ever use the letter O because it resembles a 0, and do not use the letter L because it would resemble a 1. But any letter can be used. Now, most of the time, and notice it's not always, but most of the time the variable will be X. But it can be any letter. Now, oftentimes it'll match what it's representing. And here are some examples. If time is getting talked about in a problem, the variable would often be T. For weight, we could use a W. For R, could equal rate. C could equal cost. And there are many, many others. For example, M could represent minutes, or M could represent miles. Okay, I'd like for you to please think of 2 other variables, letters that you could use that would represent something that could be used in a math problem. And please write it down on your paper.